Oh my goodness, Ashleigh, it is so good to have you
Thanks
on campus today. I'm so glad you were able to join us.
This is great. It's so nice to be back.
Oh my goodness. Do you remember? I remember when we were kids and I first met you, I was so excited to meet someone who spelled their name just like me.
Yes, and you were older, so you made it cool. You made it cool. My lot in life. No, I'm just kidding.
And everyone was like, oh, do you spell your name with a Y? And I'm like, no, Leigh. So to have someone that could, understand the struggle was great.
And to understand what our parents were thinking, giving us this name that was difficult to spell our whole lives.
Yes. And then, remember we would take the train to school?
Yes. And it was huge when my sister finally got her license. We were able to go in the car with another older kid.
I always did feel like the cool kid on campus, being able to ride up with you all and park on campus and then go straight to school.
Gosh,
it was
feels
wonderful.
like an eternity.
Wasn't it? Didn't it?
It feels like a long time ago.
So long.
Yeah.
And our parents, I remember taking pictures out for the holidays. We came over, I don't know if you remember this, but we came over around Easter and we were out on your front yard in Lake Bluff. And we took these beautiful photos and my little brother's there. When we were going through pictures at the house, I found them and
I'm sure I could unearth those photos in my mom's basement.
Well, look, I'm so glad you're here. I'd love to rapid fire memories from North Shore Country Day. So tell me about, what was your favorite memory at North Shore?
I think something that really stands out, and I don't know why, but something that really, really stands out is in third grade, we made lunchbox alarms. We read Dear Mr. Henshaw by Beverly Cleary. And a part of the story is the kid in the main character in the story, he's getting his lunch stolen at school. And so he comes up with all these creative ways to have the kids not take his lunch.
Sure.
And so Mr. Green was our teacher and we made lunchbox alarms at home. And I used a yellow, it was almost like a security whistle or something where you pull the tab and it makes an awful sound. And I'll never forget, I loved it because we got to present them in Afternoon X. Oh, I was so proud. But yeah, lunchbox alarms was one of my all-time favorite memories.
It's so funny that you mentioned a class memory with Mr. Green because so many people talk about the impact he's had. Yeah. And my son just finished class with Mr. Green last year. It's been wonderful.
That's awesome.
That's really good. I love that for you. What was your favorite thing to eat in the cafeteria?
So they probably don't even have these in the cafeteria anymore because they're definitely not healthy. But we used to go and get fruit by the foot, the candy, wrapped up. So we'd unwrap them and then we'd put them, this was in middle school, we'd put them into a ball and eat them and pretend they were retainers because we thought retainers were cool. And being able to go after school and go and get one was a huge treat. Because also at home, my mom would have never been like, yeah, you can have those.
Right. Yeah, you'd be hard pressed to find fruit by the foot in the cafeteria these days.
Anywhere.
Awesome. Okay, what sports did you play while you were here?
I played volleyball. That was a highlight, starting in middle school. And I loved the opportunities when, as a middle schooler, we could go to the upper school practices. My sister played volleyball. And so being able to be kind of with the older students. And then we were in high school having the little, the sports camps for the younger kids was awesome. Loved my time playing volleyball. Some lifelong friendships from that team and the bus rides. So
that's awesome. Yeah. So obviously this isn't while you were a student here, but you spoke about camps. Now you worked for, or do still work for our summer camp, right?
Yes. I would say if I had to, to round out my, I couldn't talk about my North Shore experience without talking about camp because it's sort of the opportunity to start working at camp. I was 17 and Cindy took a chance on me in the after school program and then working actually with Christy Herndon at the time, but Miss Athis was like, you should think about camp. And so having done that and, thinking back to last summer was my 20th year at camp, it really was sort of pivotal in rounding out like who I am in terms of like a leader in my career, and all the spaces that I've moved in. Like I wouldn't be where I'm at without, the experiences that I had at camp and also the chosen family that I now have. And those people that return every summer is a really special part of my journey.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Did you attend North Shore's camp over the summer?
I didn't. Okay. So we were always at home with my dad, who stayed at home and, biking, swimming, playing in the backyard, doing stuff like that. But it's been really transformative.
That's awesome. So having been a lifer, what would you say was kind of your most, transforming moment across your time here at North Shore between lower school, middle school, and upper school?
It's a great question. I'm not sure that I knew it at the time. And there's definitely a few different things that I can point to. Something that really stands out is I think it was JK or SK. So sometime when we were young, there was an opportunity for dads to come to school with their kids, and there was some sort of music activity with Mrs. K. And this was when the music room was in what I believe now is the JK room.
Oh, okay.
And the building was not accessible. My dad was a wheelchair user my whole life. And most of campus, the only place he could ever get into was a MAC gym at the time, or the activities center through the cafeteria doors, because there's a ramp to get into the cafeteria. And so we show up and he couldn't get in. And so I remember at the time, Howard Conant, Tom Krogan, a few other of the dads said, well, we'll just pick him up. And they just picked him up and carried him up the stairs, and he got to participate, and we did the thing, and then they carried him down and we went home. And, at the time it was sort of no big thing, but to think about the vulnerability that he sort of allowed for and modeled, and like, I'm going to let these people that I've just met, JKSK, that's the beginning of the journey. And those are people we're still friends with today. So I think that piece of community was really valuable. When I think about my journey as an older student, as a sophomore, Angelica Flores, who was working as the director of diversity, and Cameron Nicholson and Madame Woolen gave me an opportunity to go to the Student Diversity Leadership Conference that NAIS continues to have, and an opportunity to develop my own leadership skills as a diversity practitioner, and thinking about that, how that completely changed my trajectory as a working professional, going on to do equity and justice work in college and in my current profession. I would not have done that had those three individuals not really seen me for who I was, functioning as a multiracial person in a predominantly white space, and knowing that it was something that would allow me to see more of my own full humanity. That was a gift that I didn't know at the time, but think back to often as a really transformative moment.
Yeah, that is wonderful. You talk about the accessibility for your dad. And I mean, I know your dad. I know he's wonderful. And to be that vulnerable in a space, when we look at North Shore today, it really speaks to how far we've come, because, we have Grandparents' Day, and lots of our grandparents need more accessibility. And it's really lovely to just look across campus and be able to see so many people wherever you are, be able to participate and join campus. And then to talk about the kind of impact that having teachers see you for who you are. I have 2 students here now, and from when we were kids and we were the only, in our class and often in our division, we've come a long way. So I would love to dig a little deeper and talk to you about, how do you feel about how diverse the campus was when you were a student, and how that impacted you, and kind of where we are today at North Shore on campus?
Yeah, I think it's remarkable how far the student body has come in terms of representation. I also think just in numbers. I mean, I graduated with 39 And so to think about how the community has grown in that way is really exciting when you think about having a student body that represents, a myriad of diversity across all different identifiers. In terms of where we were, what I always found to be true and what seems the essence that seems to still really be present in all that is happening is like an openness to questions and understanding, and sort of an authenticity around really getting to know people for who they are. I think that is always who this place has been, and seeing people for who they are without judgment, without expectation. And so that's exciting to see, just bigger on a bigger scale. In terms of where I hope the school continues to go is to remain open to what they might not think is possible. I think to bring young people into the decisions, bring young people into the process. And I think about from admissions to, development efforts to, articulating curriculum, classroom, work that's going on in the younger grades, like bringing the young people in the high school and in the middle school into these other classrooms it's amazing that they're all here in one place, and the students have so much to offer, and their understanding of the way the world sort of is working is so much more expansive than I think us as adults could even imagine.
Oh, for sure.
And so leaning into like their expertise and empowering them to really sort of own their part in the process. I hope that continues.
Me too.
Yeah.
That was so, I can't even, there's nothing I can even say to that, because that is truly the hopes and desires that, as an alum and a parent, we could want nothing more for the students of North Shore Country Day. I love that you feel that way. And I think the school is definitely going to be able to reach higher heights and just continue in its excellence. I am so glad you were able to come to campus, and I don't want to keep you too long, but I do want to say thank you.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
It's been great to reconnect, and I hope we can do this again.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you so much,
Thanks.
Ashleigh.